Good morning. I'm Carlton Sharp, pastor of Faith Christian Center Church, right here in Beaumont, Texas. And we're here on what's happening in our neighborhood. And today I have a special guest for you, Dr. Lonnie Howard. Welcome, Doc.
Thank you so much. I'm so delighted to be here.
Hey, well, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am new to the area. In fact, this is my 369th day, actually, as the new president at LIT.
Wow.
So I still consider myself new, but I guess I'm past the honeymoon period.
Yeah,
now.
you passed that with 369 days. You
Yes,
already know
sir.
the days.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So now we were talking earlier. You come from a very, very, very small town.
Well, you missed one very. You got to add another one.
I gotta add another one.
Yeah, it's a very, 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 very small
Well, how
town.
big was the town?
Actually, according to the 2010 census, there was exactly 410 people in my hometown. And I am from originally Alleyton, Texas, Alleyton. And I tell people, well, that was the town where the post office was.
Wow.
Where I was actually born, there was no paved roads, there was no street signs. There were actually 8 different families that lived out in my little community.
Well, Doc, we thought we were in the country. You really was in the country.
Yes, we called it DC, deep country.
Deep country, deep
Yes,
country.
sir.
So now you have a very interesting story to tell about your background. So can you enlighten us a little bit on that?
Well, absolutely. And I think the best way to kind of start my story is kind of start from a 30,000 feet perspective.
Okay.
And that is to say my story and that of my siblings really epitomizes the best of the American dream.
Wow.
In that my mother had a 5th grade education, worked as a maid, scrubbed floors on her hands and knees. My father was a sharecropper, and I was the youngest of 7 children.
Wow.
And I can honestly say my mother and father created a family environment of love, caring, and support. So we didn't know we were missing anything.
Right.
But on the educational side, my parents couldn't talk about something they had no idea about. So my story really does signify, particularly, I did not receive my first associate's degree until I was 36 years old.
Wow.
And in that time, I went on to earn less than 10, 12 years later, I had a total of 5 different college degrees.
Now. So if you received your first degree at 36,
Yes, sir.
When did you start?
I actually started at 26.
Wow.
It took me as long to get my first associate degree as it did to get all the rest of the degrees. But again, it goes back to that notion of never giving up.
Right.
About working hard, make sure you follow the rules, and being persistent. And that's one of the things that I think I bring to the leadership dynamic at LIT.
Yeah.
Because everywhere I go, my story is always the same, and that is that the American dream lives at LIT. And my story is somewhat unique in that also after high school, I went directly into the military.
Okay.
10 days after. And after military, I had a combat-related MOS, so I couldn't get a decent civilian job because I didn't have the skills.
Wow.
So my first job after military service was that of a janitor.
A janitor.
Yes, sir. And actually, it was not even in the office building. It was so tough, I worked in an industrial shop.
Wow.
And so back then, people chewed tobacco and smoked. And so it was really some would consider it a depressing job. But me, I saw it as an opportunity. Because for those who have served in the military and have gone through boot camp, half of what you learned in the military is how to clean the latrine. So I had a definite skill set in place. So in my civilian job as a janitor, because I paid such level of detail and took such care, and even cleaning restrooms, that my supervisors took notice of me.
Wow. So what do you tell a student who begins to make excuses about why they cannot achieve?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head with your first word, make excuses.
Yes.
I tell them that's an excuse.
Yeah.
I say, if I can do this, anyone can. And again, I did not start off as a scholar, an academician in any right. But I was in developmental education coming up through the ranks. In fact, in third grade, I was told by one of my teachers that I was not college material.
Wow.
And that she said, you will earn your living. She said, you're a big kid, you're going to earn your living by the sweat of your brow and the strength of your back.
Wow.
So college for me at least never was an expectation.
Well, now, coming from the teacher, somebody in authority, somebody that you looked up to, how did that, make you feel?
Well, it would not have been as bad as it was, Reverend Sharp, had she not said it in front of the entire class.
Wow.
So that's, even to this day, I still remember how hurtful that was. And it just reminds me of the old adage, it's not what defiles a person that goes into them.
It's what comes
out.
That's true, that's true.
So, and with that being said, that has been a lifelong lesson that I never wanted to repeat to anyone. So I've been very careful in terms of what I said to others, and I always try to be hopeful and optimistic.
Okay, so once you got your first degree at 36.
Yes.
Was it in your mindset that one day I want to be president of a university?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. My thing was, number one, I just said, oh my God, I cannot believe I actually have a degree. And with that being said, my first degree was not a traditional academic degree. I actually earned a degree in welding technology.
Wow.
So I actually worked in the plants. I worked onshore, offshore, in a variety of different venues for a decade.
Wow.
I continued well, prior to that, I worked in industry. So to me, it was a great stepping stone to my next associate's degree, which then was a transfer degree.
So really, your background is in technical institutions.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I mean, starting off as a welder, that's.
Absolutely. Well, in during the interview, I think perhaps I said that I could be a poster child because of my background for LIT in terms of the technical mission. But amazingly, with my background, again, I went on to attend the University of Houston after Houston San Jacinto College, Houston Community College, then went on to U of H to do both my bachelor's and my master's degree, earning a 3.89 GPA. And then went on to the University of Texas to do a PhD with 2 concentrations, both in sociology and education administration, finishing the whole process in less than 2 years.
And this is a man who the teacher said, you're just going to earn by the sweat of your brow.
Yes, yes.
So where did that determination come from?
Well, hunger, poverty, and a willingness to say, I don't know what's out there for me, but surely it has to be better than what I have now.
Right.
And I am determined, because of the value system that my mother and my father placed in me, not to break the law, not to commit a crime, not to take any shortcuts, but to work hard for what I wanted.
Wow.
And to be willing to sacrifice for it.
That's it. Now, so now you become the president of a university.
Yes.
Your first presidency.
No, it's actually my second.
No, I'm talking about your first one.
Oh, back in Washington State.
Yeah, back in Washington State.
Yes.
So tell us about that experience.
It was amazing, but I think the story should kind of, I need to frame it in that I was actually, before I went to my first presidency at a technical college in Washington State, I was an executive at the University of Houston.
Really?
Yes. So, again, every 2 or 3 years seemed like I would get promoted, get elevated, and so I was well prepared. So, again, I have been very fortunate and very blessed, and this is why I have made this educating others. It's not just a job for me. It's my vocation. It's my life's work.
It's your passion.
Absolutely. But passion, it goes beyond passion, because passion within itself suggests a certain level of emotionalism without effort. But my thing is, I'm willing to labor for this.
Wow.
And I was telling someone I've been here on the job for exactly 369 days. Who's counting?
Who's counting?
But in this time, I have been involved in 589, now 590 different events, speaking engagements, individual meetings, group meetings, activities in the community.
So 590 activities
With today.
in 369 days.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But again, to me, when you, beyond passion, when something is a vocation to you, as you know with
Yeah.
your calling,
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
even if they don't pay you,
Yeah.
it's just something you cannot not do.
Right. It's the fulfillment.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's the fulfillment.
And for me, it's not work, because with each individual student that I engage, or each faculty member, or staff member I help to help change lives, I feel it directly. It's self-motivating for me, and it makes me want to do more.
Now, out of 40 candidates,
41.
41 candidates, you were picked to become the president of LIT.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what did you see in LIT that you wanted to be a part of?
Well, again, I think it goes back to your earlier comment about my background. And working at the University of Houston, being an executive there, is an experience that I love and I will treasure for the rest of my life. But it's like eating a good meal. Or I'll take it back. It's like eating a rice cake. You know, you go through the motion of chewing.
Yeah, yeah.
And you eat it, but you're not satisfied.
Yeah.
So for me, the whole experience and the draw for me for LIT versus being at the university level is working with those students who need help the most. Because at LIT, we have 6,946
Wow.
students, according to our 2015 census. So when I walk around campus, I see my face in all 6,946
Wow.
students. Despite what their gender is, despite what their ethnicity is, despite what their backgrounds are, I know what it means to have to make a decision. Well, do I buy a textbook?
Yeah. Or buy
Or
something
do
to
I
eat.
put gas in my car?
Yeah.
Or do I get something to eat?
Yeah.
I know what it feels like to take 10 years to get a 2-year degree. I've lost count. And I talk about my GPAs, but I don't tell you the whole story and about the number of classes I failed. And also, I think it's important to add to the story, I adopted as a single parent, a toddler who had been sold for drugs at 3 weeks old. The whole time I'm going to school. And I'm living in Houston, don't have a support network. And I remember when I first applied for my master's degree, I got turned down.
Wow.
They say your test scores are good enough, but that GPA is lagging. So as opposed to, and I got a rejection letter in the mail. Now, here's the takeaway for your audience. I got turned down. But before I would go to work, after I got my rejection letter for my graduate program, I would go to work. I would drop my son off at daycare. And before going to work, I would get to U of H where I had applied for graduate school. And I waited outside of the dean's office every morning for a week.
Wow.
And there was no places to sit, and there was no chairs in the hallway. The office doors, I heard he got there early. So I waited around for an entire week. And probably maybe on the fourth day, he came in. I said, "I'm sorry, sir." And I held up the letter. I said, "May I give me 10 minutes of your time? I'm not trying to bother you, but I need to have a conversation with you." So I made my plea. I say, "Look, this GPA is not reflective of who I am or how hard I'm willing to work." I said, "If you just give me one shot."
Wow.
Just give me one shot. So I was admitted for the first semester conditionally on a probational, and I had a 4.0 GPA for that first
Wow.
semester. Well, I learned not to squander opportunities.
Yeah, yeah.
Plus, I gave him my word. And I did all of this. And another story to that graduate school, and I can identify a lot with single moms being a single dad. My son's babysitter got sick. I actually had taken my son to school and it was a test. I refused to miss class, but you can't bring kids into the classroom.
Right.
So I actually pulled up a desk out of the classroom, and my son and I sat outside the classroom.
And you took
I took the test.
Wow.
So I think a lot of so what will I tell young people?
Yeah.
Be creative. Don't give up. It's going to work out. You're not all that you're going to become.
Wow.
That's my message.
That's good. Okay, so let's talk about LIT. So
Absolutely.
in the 369 days that you've been here,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
what are you implementing there?
Actually, we are doing a lot of things to really become better engaged with the community. I believe, Pastor Sharp, to render unto Caesar that which belongs to Caesar.
Yeah.
So I want to first give credit to my predecessor, Dr. Paul Zuch. I think he has done an amazing job, skilled in so many areas that I am not. But one of the things that we are doing that I'm very pleased with is we are starting a new campaign to better engage the entire community. Because we are one of the best kept secrets, I think, in Southeast Texas. And many people don't know that actually LIT is #1 in the entire state of Texas.
Wow.
And tied #3 in the nation for the salary outcomes for its students. And keep in mind, for our two-year colleges, and there are over 1,200 two-year colleges in the nation. Think about what great things are coming out of Beaumont, Texas.
Wow.
So that's another reason I want
Because actually a student can graduate from LIT, go begin their career, and make $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year.
Well, I like that you know our numbers, and you keep that up. I'm going to have to put you on the payroll and give you a job at LIT in your free time on our marketing department.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. In fact, our median income across all of our programs is $48,500. And some of our graduates, even without overtime, can earn almost $80,000 a year on a two-year degree. And the cost of a two-year degree at LIT is $10,800.
For the whole 2 years?
2 years, yes, sir.
$10,800.
$800. Yes, sir.
Wow.
And we have financial aid available. We have a series of different support programs, tutoring, financial aid, advising. We have a myriad of different internal programs and supports to help students be successful.
Okay, so if a student comes out of school, wasn't very successful, can they get involved in the program
Absolutely,
at LIT?
absolutely. My thing is, much to the point of the American dream, our doors are open to everyone. And so, regardless of what their academic preparation is, what their background is academically, we have programs to assist them. So even if they need remediation in math, English, or reading, we have a place for them.
Now, do they have to still have the testing that the four-year college has?
Well, and actually, we have standard tests that the state require. And if they score a certain level, then obviously they don't have to take the remediation piece. But a large percent of our students, again, in terms of who we serve, require additional help. And to me, I am a former developmental student. So it's not an indictment against one's intellect.
Yeah.
Because I went on to complete my postdoctorate work at Harvard and at Penn State. But again, it took me 10 years, and I forgot how many times I had to take English and algebra. But now, numbers come to me very easily. So again, when I said that students are not all that our students are not all that they can become, it is not just fluff. It's the reality.
Right. Now, are you partnering with the local school districts to get the students there?
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's a great question. In fact, both with Silsbee ISD and with Beaumont ISD, we're establishing some new partnerships, even starting this fall, to better engage dual credit, where students can get credit and training both while they're at high school and at the college level. Coupled with the fact LIT has been instrumental in helping to provide a $375,000 grant in terms of writing the grant, providing support for that to BISD.
Wow. So a student can actually, with this partnership, can come out of high school already with college credits.
Yes, sir. Or training.
Or training.
So they're job ready.
Wow. So
Yes.
so do they have to go to high school part of the day and then come to the college?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we're working on different models. But that's essentially what it will
Wow.
be. But even more exciting, for me at least, is under my leadership, we have now adopted Carlton Pollard Elementary.
Yeah.
Because to establish a true college-going culture in families that don't have a college background, you can't start too early.
Yeah.
So we're doing some exciting things. We're going to be doing some things with the Taylor Career Center. Not just for the students who are there in the daytime, the high school students, but I want to make it available for the community to say, hey, look, in the evening, you ain't got to drive to the campus.
That's right.
If you have limited transportation, we want to help mitigate those barriers.
Wow.
And again, bring education to them as opposed to them coming to the education.
Okay. Somebody might be watching today who says, okay, I have a checkered past. I've done some things, made some bad decisions, got in trouble, but now I'm ready to get on the right track. Will LIT accept students like that?
Absolutely. And the thing, too, is no one's perfect. And once individuals, if they have a checkered past, if they have paid their debt to society, we make no judgments. Education is open and available to all. That's part of our institutional mission, is to increase educational access.
That's good. So are there any other programs you want to discuss?
Well, I think you have pretty well hit them all, but again, I think that the main takeaway here for your audience is, if they're interested in making a better life for them, and as you know about the research, if the more mom and dad become better educated,
Yes.
the more likely, or the greater the likelihood that their children, their offspring, would be better educated, thus reducing the need for social assistance or recidivism or any of these issues. And I'm not telling you what the research say now, but let me give you a personal example. My son, much like your son, is named Matthew.
Okay.
My son Matthew, I told you about that, I adopted as a single parent. He was sold for crack at 3 weeks old. I never knew mom or dad. I didn't know him. But my son now is 24 years old.
Wow.
And he has earned his associate's degree. Earned his associate's degree from Houston Community College. His bachelor's degree in English literature from the University of Texas at Austin. He said, I want to go where you go, Dad.
Wow.
But not only did he earn his bachelor's at the University of Texas, but he went on to earn his 24 years old, earn his master's at the University of Washington. And now he is midway working on his PhD at 24 in English literature. So when I say it can change the whole trajectory, not only for the person who's getting the education, but their children and their children's children,
Yeah.
so on and so forth. I'm telling you, this education works.
That's
It
good.
really does.
While you were speaking, it's like the inheritance. You're leaving an inheritance for your
All
children's
right,
children.
now, watch yourself now. and you answer. I know. You see, that's what I'm saying. You can't help but to come out.
Yeah, that's
of
right.
it.
That's
Yeah,
right. That's right.
I get it.
So I'm excited about having you here in the community.
You're so kind.
Now we got to multiply those days though. I mean, 369. We got to keep that maybe about 10 more years. So 3,600.
All right. I told you I'm gonna put you on the payroll.
Well, listen, I want to thank Dr. Howard for coming today and being a part of what's happening in our neighborhood. Listen, they got some great things happening at LIT. Listen, I put the information about how you can contact LIT at the bottom of the screen right there, where you can give them a call or even go up to the campus and find out the information. School starts in just a few more days, and so, in a few weeks rather, and you can get involved. Wherever you are, no matter what your educational background was, no matter how you performed in school in the past, you heard his testimony. At 26, he started, and it took him 10 years to get his first associate's degree. Now he has a multitude of degrees on top of degrees, on top of degrees, on top of degrees. It's possible for you. That's what's so good about this story, is that you look at his story and see what's possible for you. So don't give up. Don't quit. Don't let anybody talk you out of your future, because you could be a positive influence just like he is. So I want to thank him again for joining us, and I want to thank you for joining us right here on What's Happening in Our Neighborhood. And we will see you next time on our broadcast. We'll see you next time.